then. Okay. So here's how you copy in an array. You just do dot, 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 and you spread out over it. So that's going to be called, like, it's like a clone. That's a good word for it. It's cloning it. It's creating a new thing, a copy of it, but it's a different instance. Okay. So let's get into objects, because there's kind of some, shorthands. There's just some stuff with objects we can get into. So we have talked about objects in JavaScript, but let's go do a deeper dive. So let's say we have a person. They have a first name. And let's do Peter, Paul, Mary, Peter. And I don't know what they play. I think they all play the guitar, but or he's a voice guy, whatever. Okay. And then person one, person two. Whatever. I don't think they have a basis, but whatever. Okay, so we have three objects. Normally, this isn't always the case, but normally we want to have, when we have like an array of data, we're going to want them to have like these matching key names. Because what I can do is if I know the data is matching, then if I come and create a function like log member, I can create these functions that know or can assume what that object's going to look like. For example, I know, like, since I know I have first name and last name, or first name and instrument, I can say something like, console.log object.first name, is the object.instrument. So I can call this function on it, pass it a person, and run this, Peter is the voice guy. Because I know this object right here has first name and last name when I call this function. But if I pass it like person 4, which where the keys in the object don't match what I'm calling it here in the function, well, this isn't going to work. Undefined is the undefined. Because person 4 doesn't have a first name, so that's just going to be undefined. And instrument's going to be undefined. So they need to match, or that's why we really want to match these keys with our objects. All right. So something else I can do here is I can destructure. So I can say const, first name and last name, or sorry, instrument. I can pull these off of the object. So I can pull the keys off of them and store them into, these are just essentially variables now. And then I can use them like that. So this is ES6 destructuring. With ES5, I would have had to do it this way. I would have had to say const first name equals object dot first name and const instrument equals object dot instrument. So these two are they're essentially doing the same thing. I'm just creating some variables called first name and instrument and getting those from the object. Questions there? I could also do this destructuring within the method itself. And I can only do, this is only ES6, but I could go ahead and since this function is expecting a object, with the first name, last, and instrument. So I can just destructure those actually within my function definition in my parameters. We can call that log member 1, person 2, const log member. Where's my error? Oh, I thought log member's already been defined. Oh, log member 1. Cool. So if this function's expecting a object as the argument, I can destructure the keys right there. Any questions with that? Let me go ahead and select this little example out. Actually, let's keep going. Something that you might see a lot is, let's say we have some other variables down here. Like I have a first name variable. I'm going to join Peter, Paul, and Mary and let instrument bring in some 80 synth into Peter, Paul, and Mary. So a lot of times we can have these variables that I want to create an object with this. So I could say const person for, I'm going to say first name. That's going to be equal to the first name variable, and instrument. The instrument key is going to be equal to the instrument variable. That's console.log, or actually I can use my log member method. Log member to person 4. James is the 80 synth guy. Cool. So remember, the value, the first name on the left, that's the key. This one on the right is the value, which is actually this James. Now with JavaScript in ES6, if key and value have the same name, which is common because we always kind of seem to rename things the same, and like I can store these in variables. I can write this as a shorthand. Like that. So both of these do the same thing. This is just the first shorthand that JavaScript allows you to do. And it's really common, or it's really nice and it's convenient because you don't have to duplicate this like first name, last name, last name. And you'll find yourself running into it a lot where you do this. Questions on that? Cool. Let's do one more thing. Let's clone a person. So we're going to clone. So we saw with arrays, we could, well, let's first do this. Let's do person for dot. I can add an attribute like, I don't know, eyes, eye color was blue. Then I can console.log person.for. So once again, we can update stuff, but this changes the object. Let's say I want to do that. I want to add eye color, but not change the original object. So we can do the same thing that we did with arrays. We can use that spread operator, where I can spread out over my person and person for, and then add a attribute. So I need to say blue because I don't have a variable blue. Cool. So this is how you can add something. What if you want to add an attribute to an object? You might want to update an attribute. Let's update Paul. Which one's Paul? Person 2. I don't know why I'm using Peter, Paul, and Mary, but let's spread out over person 2. But let's say I want to change their first name, but keep the instrument the same. So I can clone the person into a new object, and then I can update. After that, I can update any field. So my person 2 is not changed, but this clone or this spread operator, returns that new thing with the first name changed. So this is very useful. Any questions with that? Let me just see if there's anything else with objects in particular that I want to talk about. Nope. Nope. Okay. Sweet. So I think as far as like the ES6 JavaScript stuff goes, like these are kind of the things we have not really talked about yet. So this should give us a little more experience with JavaScript and a little more of the like kind of the tools. These are really useful tools. These kind of shorthands, these ES6 things. We'll probably talk about more later, but I think these are kind of the basic ones that you're going to be using a ton. So let's kind of see some of these in action and kind of see how like all of this can kind of play together. Cool. Does anyone have like a topic they want to build? I want to do an array of objects. You can think of a thing. Movies, stars,
Pets?
pets. Let's do pets. Okay. I like pets. 'Cause, yeah, that's a great example. Thank you. Okay. So we can do a lot with this. Okay. So let's think of like what we want. So we're going to have a pet. We'll do CRUD actions on a pet, but let's think about like what we want a pet to look like. Like a type. What would you call that type? Like breed? What's like a word for cat, dog, mouse? Like,
Species?
is it species? I don't want to type species. That's just going to be an awful word. I can already tell. But that's probably right, isn't it? Let's just do species because I think that is the technical species. Let's give
You
it
could call it type like in Pokemon.
Yeah, let's do type. I like type. That's just easier. But species is, I think, probably the correct one. Let's give it a name. What else? What's like a number? Let's do something with a number on here.
Age?
Age. Let's give it like a stars too. We'll have a votes, likes. We'll do a little competition. Anything else? Let's do like a, let's think of like an array of something. So we have some strings. Ooh, let's have a type. Let's have the type. This is going to have species and breed. So this is actually, type is going to be a object. And like I said, I'm species. I spelled it right the first time, now I can't do it again. How do you spell species? There we go. Species and breed. Right? Okay. So type's going to be an object. So we have an object with type, which is an object. And then let's also do an array of something. What could a pet have?
Toys or treats.
Oh yeah, toys. Toys. That's a good one. Thank you. So here's what our pet looks like. It's got a type, which is a species, which is an object, has a name, age, likes, and toys, which is in an array. So we got kind of like some nested data that we can work around with. This will be fun. This will give us lots of opportunities to kind of explore some of these things. So let's come in and create a pet. I'm going to do my dog, or my first dog, Lars. So let Lars type. You can, how about you all create a dog and you throw it in Slack? So you need to create a dog, or you create a pet that matches this data. See if you can do that. And I'll throw this out in Slack too. So you have like the blueprint. So Lars was a lab. Oh wait, no, he's a canine. And breed is a lab. Name is large, age is, I don't know. Oh, let's also throw on like a Boolean. Let's do like is alive. Let's just call it alive. Yeah, I don't know what the age is because he's dead. Let's say he was 10. Likes. Give him 100 likes. Toys. Let's see. Rocks and balls. And alive is false. Okay. And maybe I'll do one more. And then I'll get yours. Let's do fuzzy. What is the species of a cat? Feline? Is it feline? No idea.
Aren't cats just cat?
Cat. Yeah. Breed. There's like, there's like the hairless breed. That this cat was not hairless, but let's just say that was a black cat. That's the breed, black cat. Fuzzy. Yeah, sure. I don't know. 8. Let's go 101. This is mean, dude. My sister put a rubber band around her neck. My sister was like 4, puts a rubber band around the cat's neck. And it must have been like 2 or 3 weeks later. It's just like had like worked its way into the cat's neck. Oh, my mom had to like clean. It was gross. Catnip.
I mean, that's how they used to take off tails.
Oh yeah, it sounds horrible. I'd rather have it like get chopped off with a knife. Okay. Do we have some data? Let's do the Daisy. We got little Daisy. What's wrong here? Does not like these backspaces. For some reason, it doesn't like those quotes.
Tom, you have a beagle named Buster?
My parents' dog, but yeah.
I had a beagle named Buster when I was 15. That is
Really?
yes.
Was fat like our dog?
I don't know. I did have to give him up though. So maybe it's the same dog. Maybe you have my old dog.
Yeah, we got him as a baby puppy back in 2010. He's a tiny little thing, like this big, cute dog.
Michaela's got all her cats. Michaela, how many cats do you have? Or are these just
2.
one? You have 2.
2. Yeah. I only put one of them in there. The other one, I don't know how old he is.
Let's get Toad in here. All right. I'll create this array and then I'll slack these all out. So if you want to follow along, you can have all of them. Okay, so let's do pets. I'm gonna make this pets array. Let's get toad. Toad. What else we got? How do you say that? Persephone?
Persephone.
Persephone? It's like, that's not right. Buttercup. Onks. What time is it? I guess also now, while I'm doing this, this is probably a good time for a break too. So you can throw your pets up. I'll create this array. We'll come back. I'll throw this out in Slack. But let's come back at 11:25 and we'll come mess around with this. What else we have? Onks. Does someone have a mouse? Who had onks?
That was mine. I don't currently have a mouse,
A pet mouse.
but I used to have mice and rats and
You were missing quotes on Onyx's stuff, by the way.
yes, I did miss those.
For the type.
For the type. Am I missing it somewhere?
Yeah, 48.
There we go.
Also, toys on line 61 is also not in quotes, like the toys on 61.
Oh, right there. Thank you. Good eye. Buster. We got Buster, Kai, Daisy. Daisy, Marge. I'm gonna stop recording too.